Greetings and salutations. I am your
Hello.
host, Pat626, and I regularly host Subculture Shock. I've been actually taking some time off recently, and but the one thing that I couldn't get rid of because I just absolutely love to talk to people about the music they make. So I've got here today uh, Claes from RETROGRATH. How's it going?
It's fine. I'm in Sweden on the other side of the Atlantic, so it's right in the middle of the night.
Right in the middle
Three
of the night.
o'clock.
Now, the last time I interviewed someone in Sweden, it was still like bright light outside, despite it being late at night. Are you guys dealing with that right now still,
No, it's
or is
total
it actually
darkness
dark?
now. It's
Oh,
winter,
it's winter, so you've got total darkness. Okay, so it's
more
in
or
the
less.
summer that you have the midnight sun.
Yeah, I'm not living so far in the north, but in the north
Okay,
it's completely light, like a month, and it's
yeah.
completely dark on the other side of the year in winter.
So yeah, you don't quite get the bright lights, but you do get a dark.
Yeah, it's not that much. I'm living in Stockholm, so it's like in
Okay,
the
so
it's not that
you're
so north.
yeah you're closer. Yeah, you're almost as close to the equator as I am. Then okay.
Could be. I'm not sure. It could be. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where Sweden is on a map. I'll be honest. I mean, if you put a gun to my head, I could probably find it. But
Yeah. If you're forced to.
if I'm forced to, I can at least
Yeah.
fake it real well.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm a DJ, not a geographer. That's what I tell people
Yes.
if they ask.
Exactly.
So thank you very much for being on the show. I've been playing your music for a couple of years now. You're always kind enough to send me new stuff when you've got it.
Yeah.
Um, so I do like to start these interviews off with what I call the supervillain origin story. So in this
Ah.
case,
Mhm.
how did you even start listening to this type of music? Not playing it, but just how did you discover it and start listening to it in the first place?
Um. Well, it's. I mean, music is everywhere, and kind of you bump into it. And I've sort of always been on a little bit of the alternative music side. The main genres hasn't been that interested. And it's interesting to have a little bit more on the with some twist
Hmm.
or some aggression, and especially with a lot of different feelings.
And you feel like alternative music is more likely to have that than most mainstream music is.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, if you make and play mainstream music, you might have to think a lot about pleasing the audience
Right.
to
Got a
fit
lot of
in.
people
But
in suits telling you what to do.
yeah, or like it's the whole kind of conformative kind of setting you're in, make that kind of mindset. I think it's like you might write a song like, how would the audience like this, instead
Mm.
of just writing what you want.
And so when you write, you're not really thinking about what the audience is going to think at all.
Not too much. No, it just comes basically.
Okay. So what were what would you say were some formative acts that you listened to that you were like, this makes me want to make music?
It's like, I mean, it was like the punks for the attitude, and like
Okay.
you can do it. I mean, you don't have to be like professional. Just
Okay.
make noise, just make some sounds, just do something. And then I got quite inspired. I mean, there is a couple of bands you can't really pass if you make music by synthesizers, and it's Depeche Mode and Kraftwerk. Depeche
Yeah.
Mode for the copy side, and Kraftwerk for the experimental touch. When they were so early, you know. But on the other hand, I just realized that the first synthesizer I bought like a synthesizer 3 years ago. That's why I
Uh-huh.
started this thing, and I didn't really have this kind of analog stuff where you can kind of you basically play your left hand with the filters and like the sound creation, and you play the left hand with the melodies.
Okay.
That's another way of thinking than playing piano when you work with like right hand and left hand with the kind of bass tones and the more high frequency tones.
So what were you doing before you bought your synthesizer then?
With music, I am still like producing a lot of shows.
Mm-hmm.
I always like had a synthesizer, guitars, and so on since I was young. But yes, that type of music of synthesizer kind of really opened up a new world for me.
Okay. So what made you want to start making music then? You were listening to it, you were getting into it. What made you decide, yes, I'm gonna make music?
It wasn't a decision. I just
Okay.
started making music.
Just decided one day, like not even a decision, you were just like, I'm looking for something to do. I'm bored. How about I write a
Yeah,
song? Let's see how hard this is.
I mean, I was at home, like playing the piano, and then yes, I mean playing with only with like the with the what you call it, the notes and the kind of
Mm-hmm.
playing stuff like that. If I was like a piano teacher, I was like from the start, I was just playing the piano myself, improvisation. And if you improvise, you basically make a song from
Yeah.
nowhere.
Either that or you end up playing songs that you know by accident.
Yeah, or playing tunes that fits.
All right, so
Yeah,
yeah, so you fool around, you start making some music, and then you're like, all right, this song needs some lyrics.
yeah,
So we're gonna get to the new EP in a minute, to the themes
yeah.
running throughout it, but so what were you like? Were you like just thinking really hard about what you wanted to say in your first songs, or did it just like the music? Did it just come to you, and you're just like, this is what I'm gonna say?
Uh, it comes at the
Yeah.
moment. It just comes.
All right,
And now
so
now I have like a kind of a forum for it, so
mhm.
it's easier. I mean, 3 years ago, I mean, I did music when I was younger, but then I've been mostly focusing on like producing music as a music producer and
Right.
helping out at concerts. And I was like, I'm in there anyways. I don't really need to stay on stage or
Right.
do my own songs. But I mean, I maybe did one song a year anyway, somehow on the guitar or whatever. But now I record it and make it more proper, finish it. I don't find it very hard to make a song. It's hard to do good songs.
I think that's a good point though. Like, and I think that's a thing that a lot of people don't say enough, and a lot of people don't listen to enough, is that exactly what you said, that it can be easy to write a song, it's difficult to write good songs. And I think a lot of people forget that even their favorite artists have a bunch of songs that we will never hear because they
Yeah,
sucked.
yeah.
Or
Or they never got finished. It's like
they never got
cool
finished. Yeah.
chorus or a very good verse or some very nice fitted words with the chords or whatever how you do it.
Yeah. But it didn't quite pan out. And so there was a lot left, as directors would say, on the cutting room floor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or in the sketches.
Yeah.
That's where it stopped. And obviously some of like the really good songs, they're so easy, like in the kind of what you call it, structure. Just realized that because I'm invited to play at a Swedish kind of local radio station. They have some jubileum. I think it's 20 years.
Uh-huh.
So their idea is like you play like one old songs. I mean, I don't really have any old songs. I mean, he's doing it for like 2.5 years. Can't
Hey.
like pick up my piece from 1977 or something like that.
Oh no. Just lie about it. Just be like, yeah, so I
Yeah,
wrote
exactly.
this song in 1942.
Exactly.
It was a real hit during the war. Which war? I don't remember one of the big ones.
Yeah, something like that. And then you should do a new one and then a cover. And then I was like thinking, I mean, I've been always singing in English now with this kind of project. So I was thinking I'm gonna do something in Swedish and something that is definitely not synth and do a bit like, make it synth or make it electronic.
Well,
And then I just realized that the song I picked, it has the same chords all over for 4 minutes. It doesn't change.
well, that means you got to do
I didn't
something
know
else
that.
in it to make it happen. Oh yeah, it's like a Tom Petty song. Most of
Yeah,
Tom
okay, yeah, something like that.
Petty's hits are like 3 or 4 chords, and they
Yeah,
don't change at all. And that man made millions of dollars
yes,
off of that. So why can't
yeah,
we? Uh,
definitely. So it's not about that really. So
nah,
just need to figure out how to kind of present it.
it just has to sound good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just has to sound good, especially if it's pop. Um, yeah, so and I say that's my favorite thing about covers though, is I always love the artists that take a song that isn't in their genre and make it their genre. Because like if you played a Depeche Mode song and you did it exactly like Depeche Mode did it, all you're telling me to do is that I should go listen to Depeche Mode.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But if you can completely reinvent a song and make it yours, that's where it gets real special.
I mean, there are some artists that really do songs, and when you figure out like you hear that song in original form, and it's like I heard this before, and you can't really place it. I like that kind of twist also if you do covers.
Yeah.
Take it to your own kind of atmosphere or to your own sound world. Yeah.
So, we were talking a little bit about how when you write songs, they just kind of come to you. So let's talk a little bit about your new EP, Falsification,
Yes.
because there is definitely a theme
Yes.
of lies running through the entire release. And so I'm wondering, did you realize that you were going to do that, or did you write 3 songs and they were all about lies, and then you were like, I guess I have a theme going now?
The thing is, like, I do a lot of kind of ideas and songs. They just come, and I've found a little bit of a new technique, which is kind of maybe a bit of a tip for people out there.
Oh yeah, let's get those tips and tricks going.
Yeah. So I mean, I go around and walk around and I find some nice lyrics that fit. And what I do now is that I go home and I just put on like a rhythm with the right tempo for it, or decently correct tempo, and then I record the lyrics first, the vocals. No tunes, no chords, no melody. And after that, it's interesting because you can think that I might, fall between the notes, kind of between C and C sharp or something like that. Usually not. It's very strange.
So do you have do you just do the rhythm of the words, or do you start singing a melody as well?
I kind of sing a melody, like singing like a part of the chorus, or if it's like a verse or some, nice words that fits together.
And so, you do that along with the beat.
Yeah, exactly. And then I figure out what could be the chords for this, which means I'm in key. I don't have to, sing high or low. That's my natural voice.
That's really clever, actually, because most of the people I talk to, it's like some of them say it'll go back and forth. Like sometimes they'll write a vocal line and be like, all right, now I have to write something that fits that. But a lot of times it's the music that comes first, especially with people that tend to focus a lot on the music. And I would feel like with all the experimentation you're trying to do with the analog, that the music would come first. So I'm surprised to hear that it doesn't.
No, usually not. Or some, I mean, it can also be kind of jamming a little bit, and you have like this. Usually, it's kind of a bass line or some sounds.
Okay.
You wanna, incorporate in the sound world of that song. It could be like that too, but that's easier to kind of transpose.
Do you ever pick up the guitar and write something on the guitar first for Retrograph, and then transfer it to the synth, or is it all? Are you pretty much just using the synth when you're writing?
Mostly synth, but I think I started with the guitar on some tune.
Yeah. So 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 when you started doing the jamming,
Yeah.
like back to my original question, did you know ahead of time that you were going to write an EP about lies, or did you just start coming up with ideas?
No, the thing is like, I mean, when I started, it's like 2.5 years ago. I didn't really know anything about what I should supposed to do, and I was like thinking maybe I should publish something. And then I recorded something, and then I figured out like the first EP is called Falsification,
Right.
and it's about this kind of a little bit more scientific world of quanta and quantum mechanics and this kind of is time and space divided, blah blah blah, this kind of Einstein thing. And then I figured out like, okay, maybe I had like 7, 8 kind of pieces, and then maybe I should put them together. So it became this kind of about like quantum mechanics, and I decided to call it quantification. And then I was thinking like, okay, that was a good concept. I do some themes, and I know what I should kind of sing about, or it doesn't really need to be like super, you know, super tightly fit. It could be just like some connection to it.
Okay.
And this is my sixth EP, and I did like 4 or 5 pieces on them. So I kind of figure out some lyrics that could work and some themes to write about. And I also decided I'm not going to write anything about love. Anyone else can do that. So listen to others. So I'm going to write about some other weird stuff. I don't know.
No love songs only here.
No love
Only
songs only.
lies. Only
Yes.
lies.
Only lies. At this one at least. Yes.
Which some would say is a love song. But and in
Could be.
fact, well, and so that's kind of funny actually, because I feel like even though you're not like writing about love specifically, the track on the new release. All right, so if you've never watched Subculture Talk before, I think way too much on this show. I used to be a an English teacher, and that part of me still kind of stays there, and I like to analyze lyrics a lot. And I feel like especially tracks like Friendly Whispers and Snow White Words were tracks about, the lies that we tell people to either make them feel better or to avoid conflict.
That's
Or
you nailed it.
yeah.
Yeah, it works.
and,
Good.
and so I feel like unfortunately a lot of us have been in relationships like that.
Yes.
Yeah. And Snow White Words especially, I was really fond of that because talking about the polishing the just whitewashing the words and doing it so that no one gets hurt and we are still getting hurt.
Yes. Because
Uh,
feelings are always there, right?
yeah, like no, you hide the feelings. The feelings are still. Maybe you're not hurting their feelings anymore, but now you're hurting your own.
Yeah, it could be that one. That could be an interesting twist
Yeah.
on it too. Yeah. Yeah.
And then, of
Definitely.
course, they're gonna find out eventually, so you might as well be honest about it.
Uh-huh. So there is this kind of saying, like, when people get older and they get this kind of Alzheimer's and can't really follow anymore, still the feelings are there. So they get hurt, even
Yeah.
though they figure out that you are kind of, talking about them behind the back and stuff like
Oof.
that. But they can't really, express it, and they can't really figure out what to, how to communicate. But still, they get like pissed off and angry and stuff like that. So that's a little bit. I saw some program about that on TV. I think that's what's the inspiration about this kind of white lies idea.
Man, and it's funny because some bands think that they're dark by writing songs about like vampires and BDSM and stuff like that. And you're like, no, I'm gonna write a song about Alzheimer's. Let's get
Yes.
let's get really dark in here. Let's get sad.
That's basically what I'm listening to a lot of kind of podcasts, and that's inspired me a lot for music. Podcast. I studied history at the university, so I'm listening to a lot of historic podcasts, and there are a lot of like how human being live and a bit of philosophy. So that inspires me a lot.
And obviously, also taking some inspiration from literature, as 1984 gets a mention in
Yes.
the first track, Mirror Sentences. So tell me a little bit about what you mean by mirror sentences.
It's basically exactly what 1984 is about. You say something, but you mean the opposite.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's but propaganda. It's the kind of a very obvious lie, but still it's very effective because it kind of get you grinded down in the end.
There wasn't like any sort of political things that happened in the last couple of years that made you think of that, was there? I say sarcastically.
Yes, it was absolutely. A little bit about fake news, but it's really got me. I mean, when it's about the Ukrainian war, if I be to be
Yeah.
honest.
No, please be honest. Like,
Mm.
I don't. Even though you wrote an entire EP about lies, I would rather you be honest with me.
Yeah,
if that's okay. If that's
yeah,
not too
depends.
much to ask.
Yeah.
Um.
No,
So
I mean it's so obvious. Like you say something and you do something completely different. That's just like wow.
I
That's,
really there was one line in there that stood out to me as well. Like I was listening to it a lot in the car driving
yeah,
back and forth this week preparing for the interview, and there was a line about we all know who controls the now controls the past, or the present
yeah,
controls the past.
yes. So I
And
mean that's really. I mean it's like history revision, basically.
yeah, I mean
Yeah,
I'm used to the phrase "history is written by the winners,"
yeah,
but I really liked this because that's beyond that. Like history is written, the people that are writing history now might not have even fought in the battles. They might have won or lost
absolutely.
nothing,
Yeah,
but they're rewriting history to fit their current narrative.
so you can say that line is about source criticism, not
Yeah.
about love. So that's dark.
Yeah, no, like we just forget love songs. And I'm not saying that love songs can't get dark, but
No,
you
not at
know,
all.
we're getting
So much dark love.
we're getting pretty intense in here. So yeah, because you hit like, I mean, you hit it swinging right out of the gate with the political track, and honestly, I appreciate that. I especially like that you're willing to come out and say, yeah, this is about the war in Ukraine and about double talk and that sort of thing, because I feel like a problem in a lot of bands that take a quote unquote political stance is that they leave out, okay, but what the stance actually is. They use a lot of revolutionary language,
Yeah.
but it could be applied to literally anyone or anything. And I don't feel like you're doing that, so thank you.
Oh yeah. It's a little bit, yeah. Fake news. It's a little bit the same thing. You say something and you do something completely different on yourself, like totally immoral, basically, very unethic. In that sense. And then it was so obvious, like with the attack on Ukraine. I've been in Ukraine a lot, so I have a little bit of a emotional touch to it too.
Yeah, so if you don't mind me asking, like, what was your reaction to seeing what's happening in there? Since you, like you said, have an emotional connection to the Ukraine.
Yeah, no, it was quite shocking. It's so brutal and so kind of it coming in with a big fist, kind of, just
Yeah.
smashing.
I don't know that there is a gentle way to declare war, but no, I agree with you. It was pretty brutal.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, most attacks been like that.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
So,
all the big powers have so much force within their fist
yeah, no,
fights.
yeah, no. That's the thing is that I can't, I can't say any different. Like America has definitely ran up and punched
Yeah.
people in the nose before, and that is
I mean, the
not proud
attack
of
on
that.
Iraq and the Middle East was also very brutal. In that sense.
Absolutely. There was just no getting around that. Yeah, not something many of us are proud of.
No.
So the other track that I would love a little more information on, it was the last one on the four that I was sent,
Yeah,
Silent Faces. And
yeah.
so tell me a little bit about what's going on in that song.
Lyric wise, it's about like you trust people that are there for you when you have problems, but then in the end they are just silent and trying to avoid help, and try to avoid to get into your problems and help you. So it's a bit like when you're disappointed with people.
So I gotta ask, because
Mm.
we've got, we've got like Friendly Whispers kind of feels a little bit like that too, and then we've got the double talk, the propaganda. Like, who hurt you?
Yeah.
Who
Well,
hurt you, man?
it happens to everyone, doesn't it?
It does, but
You
like,
get disappointed with friends that kind of doesn't stand up for you when you need them. You kind of call them and it's like, yeah, it will get over. Yeah, but can't we talk about it? No, yeah, it's gonna get over. No problem. Keep on working.
well,
Realistic.
I just, I hear stuff like that from artists, and I'm just like, ah, what? Why would anyone do that to you?
Yeah. But it happens to everyone, I guess. You get
It does.
disappointed by friends, colleagues, whoever.
So you just
But
turn it
that's
into a
basically
song
what.
and call it a day.
Yeah, kind of. Why not? A bit of a revenge.
By the way, you do have at least one friend in chat here. I've Vlad
Yeah.
the Impalers,
Ah,
just shouting out your name, saying hello.
yeah.
So,
Hello. What was the name?
I've Vlad the Impaler.
Hi, Vlad the Impaler. Ah, Vlad. Uh-huh.
I would imagine. I would
Yeah.
hope. I mean, I don't know what anybody's name is on the internet, so.
But it's the kind of Romanian touch
Yeah.
of the famous vampire prince. Hi, Vlad. How are you?
So, you did a thing that I appreciate. You gave me another question, because when I asked you about, to explain the song a little bit, you mentioned, well, lyrically. So that brings up a neat point, because of the way that you write the songs.
Yeah.
Like, since you start often with the lyrics and the vocal line, are there any little tricks? Like, obviously you're trying to make the songs match the key that you're singing in.
Yeah.
But taking, like, for instance, personal favorite off of there, mirror sentences. Okay,
Yeah.
so we're dealing with a song about propaganda.
Yeah.
How do you make the music fit in with that? Are you just worried about making it match the key, or are you doing other things that you feel like can make the music evoke the same sort of feelings that the lyrics are?
I think that's also a little bit of an interesting story, because I started making these kind of helicopter sound in the beginning.
Uh
That's
huh.
all fake. It's not like the sample. It's made up by an analog synthesizer.
Okay. That's
So
really good fake helicopter then, because
yeah.
I thought it was sampled. So well
No, it's
done.
not.
Well
I
done.
I played it. It's I have to play it to get this kind of
Okay.
it kind of drops a little bit in key and stuff like that. Played around with it a lot. So
So I
I had a lot of
realize
fun.
I realize that you did this with a synthesizer, but from
Yeah.
now on, when anybody asks you what instrument you play, you should just answer, I play the helicopter.
Yeah, I think I did it on the classic same synthesizer as Kraftwerk worked on, the ARP Odyssey, which was the one I bought first. I think I made
Okay.
it on that one, because it's easy to make this kind of random kind of stuff.
So did you make the sound by accident, or were you like, this song needs a helicopter because we're
No,
talking about war?
I had that sound
Uh huh.
somewhere, and I was the EP before. It's about the nuclear bomb,
Okay.
detonation. It's called. So I was thinking maybe I should use it for some song there. It
Okay.
could have ended up there as well, but it didn't.
So you're like, I gotta use this helicopter sound. I worked so hard on it. I gotta put it somewhere.
No, I'm thinking about it's a little bit too obvious to make like a war song, so I didn't do
Yeah.
that. I did something else.
But in a propaganda song that is technically still about war, that's a good fit because it's not too on the nose.
Yeah, but propaganda is everywhere. I mean,
Yeah.
depends on the definition, on the level of it. I don't know. It doesn't really have to be about war.
Yeah.
Commercial is propaganda as well.
Don't get me started.
Yeah. I have another team. I have 2 or 3 songs, kind of not ready, but ideas for that. Is like shopping centers.
Say again?
Shopping centers.
Shopping centers are just doing an EP about shopping centers.
Yeah, it could happen. I have 3 songs. It could be the theme.
I mean, I honestly would be interested in this because shopping centers have undergone such a change in our culture. Because
Yeah.
at first they became like these huge collections of stores that were shutting down mom and pop stores.
Yes.
And becoming like cultural centers all of their own because people would just get together and hang out at them and also shop. And now the shopping centers themselves are getting shut down by online shopping.
Exactly. That's an interesting trend.
Yeah.
That could be a theme for something on that one.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's almost like, it's almost like an apex predator suddenly becoming prey. So that's fascinating, and I wouldn't have thought about it until you mentioned it. And that sounds fantastic, and I want it now. Gimme.
Yeah. I was visiting friends in Dubai. It's a very interesting place. It's so superficial. It's like built up in the city. In the desert. City built up in the desert. And it's all circles around shopping centers because it's too warm outside, especially in the summer. So you have to be inside. And they really built shopping centers. So, I mean, it was so hard to find a way out of it. So that was the story.
It was like a maze.
Yes, maze of stores. It's like you have to buy yourself out, kind of.
See, so that's wild because like
that's the theme of the first song. Then there were other songs that kind of fit a little bit on criticizing the over commercialized world we live in and things like that. Money is like the first thing you have to think of.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I
have you heard about this concept called money?
Nope, not at all.
No.
I didn't spend the last 2 weeks in like a completely stressed out, anxious depression because I had to come up with money out of nowhere for just the ability to go from point A to point B. Didn't happen. Nope. Don't know what you're talking about.
No idea.
Money is pointless. What is money anyway?
Right. Yeah, that's also an interesting discussion. You can write lyrics about anything, I mean.
All right. Okay. So in that case, I am expecting at some point, since you can write lyrics about anything, I want a dark, spooky synth song about sandwiches. Sometime I'll give you 2 years, and 2 years time, you're coming back on Subculture Talk, and we're gonna play and talk about your spooky song about sandwiches.
I think I really have a refrain for that.
Oh, really? Man.
Yeah, and it has a connection with America.
Okay.
Yeah. So
please make fun of my home country. Please.
It's not fun. It's just like a normal thing. I toured in New England in August. Played Boston, Providence, and Salem. Speaking about spooky. And then we stayed at Boston. My wife's niece lived in Boston, so we stayed at her place, and we were in this probably there's like a chain. I don't know if it's just in Boston. It's called Trader Joe.
Trader Joe, yep. No, we have them here.
Yeah. So we went in there, and I was like, thinking about maybe I should do something about tastes. So I could write something about salt, something about sugar, something about different tastes, and find 4 tastes that could circle. And then we went to to some burger place just nearby, and that burger is basically some kind of advanced sandwich if you kind of ad lib a bit. And from that on, I kind of
Oh, right in the
I was
heart.
like building up like the kind of lettuce and the meat and the connection with like bread on side of it. I
Uh-huh.
was thinking that could be something that I can kind of work on for the lyric. It's somewhere in my phone.
Somewhere in there, we've got a
Yeah.
song about burgers. Excellent.
or sandwiches. I mean,
Or
it's like
sandwiches or
it's
something.
built up like a 2-layer covered
Let's-
by bread. And
let's
bread
go.
is, bread is like, has been like, the basic of human food for a long time.
Yeah.
I think that's a little bit where the bread comes in.
As someone who is married to someone who is allergic to gluten, I am
Yeah.
very aware of how fundamental bread is to our society.
Mhm. Yeah, it is really. Bread, butter, bread and water, whatever it is. Maybe it's called bread and water. I don't remember.
There we go.
There is some bread including it, at least.
Well, so when I was a younger person, a friend of mine and I were talking about how if man can live off bread alone, and a bottle of Guinness has the same amount of yeast that they put in a loaf of bread, does this mean that man could live off Guinness alone?
I think you can live a long time with Guinness. I like it.
Yeah, let's go. Vlad the Impaler is now asking you to come to New York City next time you're in America.
I'd definitely like to. Definitely.
Yeah, that'd be a
Yeah.
good show to play. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And also, hi, Vlad. Thanks for chiming in.
Yeah.
Also,
Just
Corey
give me,
Cape. Go
give
ahead.
me a club and I come. No problem.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
easy. Yeah.
Corey Capron in chat also mentioning to us that apparently we should check out a song called Sandwiches by Detroit Grand Poobahs.
Oh, should check that out. Yeah.
Yeah, making ourselves
What
a little
style of
list
music
here.
is it?
Yeah, I have no idea. I haven't heard of it until now. So
Maybe
like,
you can ask
yeah,
her.
Corey is gonna he'll have to let us know.
Yeah. Give us information, Corey.
Yeah, come on.
Shoot.
Now, yeah, how's this for an interview? Now we're asking questions of the audience. Let's go. Turning
Yeah.
this thing on its head. We're getting crazy up in here.
Getting super interactive. That's cool.
It's an experience, is all he'll say.
Yeah.
I feel like it's an experience is what people say when they're not actually convinced we're gonna like it. They just want us to listen to it anyway.
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of music I listen to that's like more interesting than good sometimes.
All right, so that's an excellent question actually that I don't ask near enough. Which would you rather be? Interesting, or if you had to choose? Obviously, you hope to be both interesting and good. But if you can only be one, which would you rather be?
Well, I could quote some quotes I had about my music. There is this kind of places you can kind of pay $5 and then you get like reviews.
Okay.
I did that in the beginning because I didn't understand that I could be on radio with talking with someone like you.
I was gonna say I'll tell you what I think of your music for free.
Exactly. And
I am in the wrong business.
While,
I should be charging for this.
I promise to give you a beer and a coffee when I meet, and of course.
All right, there we go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Thumbs up. But what was I supposed to talk about? Yeah, then I sent it in for review, and one comment was from some girl. She said like, "Your music doesn't sound so fun." That was her comment.
Please tell me.
Yeah.
Please tell me that you used that for like as a liner for the next album. Music doesn't sound so fun.
You sing it now for the first time publicly.
Oh man, no, I would plaster that on every release I had for like the next 10 years. Not that fun.
And my reply to that would be like, maybe that wasn't the point.
Yeah, like
some some stuff could be fun, of course, but I mean,
Yeah,
maybe
like
that wasn't the
you've
main idea.
definitely you've got a synth pop jam on the new
Absolutely.
release. You know, like
Yeah,
Silent
yeah,
Faces is definitely the most like poppy sounding track on there.
yeah.
That sounds fun, which is funny because it's not a fun lyrical song at all. But it sounds fun. But yeah, like the but you know it's good to have fun, but you don't have to
Yeah.
be fun with every song.
No, exactly. I'm always trying to, at least in the beginning. Now it kind of get a bit messy because I'm having too many IDs and I have to sort them. But then it was like, well, also I did some music with a Canadian guy called Null O
Okay.
band, and I always asked him like I should. He had some lyrics, and I was like, "What is the feeling in it? I need to figure out. Shall it be like desperation? Shall it be what is the feeling?" So I like always to figure out like what can be the feeling in this song. Or sometimes it has to do with the chords and harmony, but also it's like what's the concept, so I can understand what the emphasis of my melodies and my you know vocals and stuff like. So it should be some feelings involved in each song, although it might be about sandwiches.
Well, who says
The
that
emotional sandwich.
who says sandwiches can't make you feel something though?
Yeah, it can make me feel. At the moment, I feel a bit hungry when I'm talking about sandwiches.
Well, that's true. Like I just ate dinner, so this is cheating on my part. I'm perfectly full. I can talk about food all I want. It's like almost 4 in the morning over there.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I slept for 3 hours and then woke up, had a glass of water. So no night
Yeah,
sandwich here.
it's definitely midnight snack time.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like the wolf hour zone soon here. And go out hunting in the street.
Oh yeah, definitely. Just I can see it now. You shut down your computer, you grab your spear, go outside.
Yeah, trying to find some prey.
Just
Game
remember to
season
cook.
started. Yeah,
I was gonna say, just remember to cook it first because our stomachs are not evolved for raw meat anymore. So
yeah.
at
Those
least mine
guys
is not.
died. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we've been talking about the new EP and all of the other stuff that you've made as well. Where can we find your music?
It's basically spread all over on the streaming media. So you
Okay.
can find it on like iTunes, Apple Music, but I'm mostly focusing on Spotify.
Okay.
But some songs are also on Bandcamp.
Mm-hmm.
So in search for RETROGRATH, TH in the end,
Mm-hmm.
RETROGRATH,
Which
and
does it
yeah,
does beg the question: why did you decide to use a theta in your name?
because I was thinking what can be my name, and then yeah, I mean I'm using synths basically that was produced between 75 85, so it's quite retro.
Uh
Maybe
huh.
something with retro, and retrograde is like kind of a little bit of an opposition or. I mean, in the punk world, it was all like, I don't want to, I don't want to, I don't want to, I don't, no,
Right.
no, no. So this is a bit of an opposition thing. And then, oh, retrograde could be cool. And then I found like 7 bands with the name retrograde. So it's
There
like,
are many.
no. And I was like, not that cool. So what can I do about it? And then, yeah, and I studied history and coming from like a Germanic speaking world. So um, you have all these kind of, Russian cities with a grad in the end. And it basically means like a farm from the beginning.
Okay.
And it's another way of saying like in Sweden it's called gård. It's like a farm that has like some kind of encirclement.
Okay.
And then in the Slavic it became graph. So and it was the same name in Swedish in the old Swedish as well. So I flipped it a bit and added the th in the end. And I also use an Icelandic letter in the end. It's like
Yeah.
it's called a thorn in
Oh,
runic.
Thorn, not Theta. Excuse me.
Whether
Thorn.
it has that different name. So
Yeah.
I guess that researchers write a lot of books about that. They have
So
something to do.
right. So
Yeah.
okay. So along those lines, how many people have said your band name and said like RETROGRATH or something like that?
With a th or with a d.
With a or with a D or with even like a P because it almost looks like a
I,
P.
yeah, no, I haven't heard any p.
But you
But
have heard retrograde?
yeah, absolutely. Especially in the beginning because I wasn't so focused on the correct what you call it, how it looked correctly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because
So it looked more like a
when
T.
we went to the States for the tour in August, we passed by Iceland as a stopover,
Huh?
and then I saw like, oh, we should have a little sign in one part of the D in the end,
Okay.
and it looks more obvious because I write like with the big letters, the logo. So I changed
Oh
it.
yeah. So cap.
I
So
had a bit of like a small letter in the end,
yeah.
which looks a bit like a P.
Yeah. That's where I was thinking of that.
Mm. So
All right.
it's a bit changed from now on the logo.
So you're learning all sorts of things here. I didn't even realize I was saying the type of letter wrong. I feel like a doofus
Well,
now.
I think you really. I don't know how to pronounce it. You probably should speak with the Icelandic guys. How they do sound.
Well, you know what? I obviously what I have to do is instead of interviewing Dead Cool next week, I'm just going to interview the entire nation of Iceland.
Yes.
Let's
Not that
go.
many. It's like 400,000, 475 or something.
I can get that done in 45 minutes. It'll be great.
Yeah, just speak a bit quick.
So,
Oh, actually, I have a little bit of an anecdote about that.
oh, good.
Yeah, about Iceland. So it's still like to have this kind of patronymic system, like you are named after your father. So if you have like, let's say your father was Steve, it will be like Pat Steveson.
Okay.
And if you're daughter of Steve, it will be like Steve's daughter.
Huh.
And we were discussing, me and a friend of mine. I think we got a bit drunk. And then
what?
How many family names can a family in Iceland? Can they really have 4 names? So it's like your father's name, your daughter's name, and then the fathers of them have their fathers and father's name, but they are daughter and sons. So we're like, how do we find this out? Ah, let's call Iceland. So we picked up a random number in Iceland and asked them. And they said,
Crank
like,
call
haven't
from
thought about
retrograph.
it, but yeah, that's true. Basically, we can have 4 names, 4 family names.
That is wonderful. I'm learning so much today. I can't believe you just cold called a stranger in Iceland. That's beautiful.
Why not?
Why? No, perfect answer. Why not?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Anything is possible.
Especially when you're drunk.
Yeah, tipsy at least. They could at least hear us speaking and what we said.
So we're entering near the end of the interview. Was there anything else that you wanted to add?
No, I think let's keep it as it is. Keep it as it is.
Well, it was an honor having you on the show. Thank you for joining me in the virtual studio.
I can say, Vlad, just get me a gig and I come.
Yeah, exactly.
Put it on the next tour list. It will be cool.
It's up to you,
Vlad.
Vlad.
Want to go back to the States again at some point.
Find a spot in New York City. Let's make it happen.
Absolutely.
I love, by the way, I said this before the interview, but I did want to comment during the interview. I love all of the lit up synths behind you. That's just beautiful.
I hope so. It makes what it is. A lot of inspiration there.
Well, again, thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to hearing the next album about shopping malls, and hopefully a sandwich song in the next couple of years.
Yeah, we'll see
That that's
what
our
comes up.
that's every episode ends up getting a hashtag. So I guess our this one is hashtag retrograph sandwich song. Let's go. Let's make
That's
that
good.
happen,
So, yeah,
folks.
yeah. I'll keep that.
Keep
I
that
should
one.
have that. Yeah, keep the hashtag sandwich song.
All right. So for those of
Yeah.
you that are listening live, I'm gonna cut off for just a second and come back and kind of talk about what's been going on the past couple of weeks and what you can expect out of this channel for the next few weeks as things kind of get together. And of course, I'll be taking your questions in chat for a minute. If you're watching the YouTube video, well, now you know that there's some fantastic music that you need to check out on your streaming source of choice, or even float a couple bucks to get your own copy off of Bandcamp. But again, thank you very much for joining, and everybody have a lovely evening, morning, afternoon, whatever it is.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.